So, hi everyone. It's been nearly, 4 days since my mains examination ended, and I was rather analyzing and over-analyzing my own performance. I thought, why not, give a student's point of view into how truly I felt this year's mains was, because a large number of coaching institutes are more about telling you the right answer, showing how what they've said has been asked from their material, but they're lacking the insight of what a student truly felt inside the examination hall. Once we see the papers, what goes in your mind, were the questions truly easy, tough? Because outside the examination hall everybody goes, "ये तो बहुत easy था, you could have written this, you could have written that." Even we have guilty of doing this. But inside the examination hall, how the mind works, what you need to look into, etc., I like to cover. So I'll start with the GS papers first. I'll mention about what are my takeaways, what I felt during the examination hall, how I would grade the questions. So okay, let's get started. The first GS, as everybody knows, is the General Studies paper 1. Now, inside every general studies paper, there are, of course, various different subjects. So in GS1, the first subject, which is also the first question, is history plus art and culture. Now, history. First question was on Harappan civilization. Now, I must be honest with you guys. As soon as I saw the first question, I was on cloud 9, because Harappan civilization is, it's something which every candidate studies about. There's nothing very hi-fi in this. Architecture, everybody knows, about grid pattern, about 1:2:4 ratio, about citadel, lower town, how it shows the absence of palaces, etc. The only challenge which I found in this question was, because it was a 10 marker and you had lots and lots to write, the only issue a candidate will face is, to filter out the information, what not to write. Correct? Now, coming to the second question, I'll be honest with you, this was something which we all study. But seeing the charged political atmosphere of the country, I truly was not expecting this question. I'll be very honest, though it was a very, in news current affair, but it was asked. Everybody knows, something about it. Everybody knows about Deen-e-Ilahi, which was comparable to Ashoka's Dhamma, how he had Akbar abolished jizya. So I think this was a fairly easy question. Any candidate who has a basic understanding of medieval history will be able to answer this. So I'll be very honest, the first two questions I was kind of on cloud 9, because it was easy, moderate, but then it all came crashing down with the third question, Chandela art form. If you look at the PYQ pattern, usually UPSC asks Gupta architecture. Last year they asked Pallava architecture. They asked, the Imperial Chola architecture. You have lots and lots to write there. You can talk about Nagara style, etc., etc. Now, as far as Chandela art form is concerned, we know just about the temples of Khajuraho. We know about the Kandariya Mahadev temple. We know about erotic art. And we know that this was nothing but a sub-school of Nagara style, along with, of course, the Odisha style of architecture and the Solankis of Gujarat architecture. This was a very difficult question. Second, because firstly, Chandela art form, just in brief. Secondly, the question was very specific. It was sculptors filled the Chandela art form with resilient vigor and breadth. So, the demand, I believe I was not able to address properly, but I think this was a question which was a tough question for all candidates, irrespective of what coaching institutes say that you should have known this, that, etc. No, this was a tough question. Now, the next question of history was question number 11. Now, Jyoti Rao Phule. This is more of a current affair oriented question. I too had somewhat prepared, about this personality, but I was expecting a more broader question on, backward caste mobilization, wherein I could mention not just Jyotirao Phule, but also B.R. Ambedkar, etc. But the question specifically was on Jyotirao Phule, his writing and social reforms for subaltern. I believe it was this terminology which made this a very tough question. This wasn't an easy question. See, people might say, especially the institutes will say, you should have known this. It was mentioned by our Prime Minister, in his 15th August speech, but we were preparing for mains during that time, right? Everybody knew this would be asked, but for a 15 marker and for the wording of this question, this was a very tough question, I think. Now, the 12th one. This, for me, post-independent consolidation for polity, economy, education, and international relation. A fairly easy question. This has already been asked. This we study. We all know about the 6 stages of India's foreign policy. The only challenge once again in this question is space management, like the first question. Okay, an easy question. The 13th question was on French Revolution. Once again, a straightforward PYQ centric question. The only challenge here was showing its relevance for contemporary world. The way I have divided the question, give both positive and negative. Positive, we all write about secularization and etc., how the oppressive regimes of feudalism were overturned. This everybody will mention. Negative, especially how about the events post the revolution, about how Napoleon was both a child of the revolution, destroyer of the revolution. This was, I think, which some people might not have mentioned, but overall a very, once again, an easy question. So, as far as the history section is concerned, I would rate the first 2 questions easy and moderate. The third one tough. Once again, a tough question. Then 2 easy questions. So out of the 6 questions, nearly 4 questions were for an average candidate quite, I'll say, easy to moderate, while of course 2 questions were very tough. So overall, this section was a very balanced section. Just like last year, there were nothing which was very out of the box, nothing which was very difficult. So this was, I think, even this section went quite all right. But I guess the main issue started with the next section, which we'll discuss in the next video. So thank you for watching.